All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Well, folks, it looks like the Heat and star forward Jimmy Butler are at an impasse, and it's no secret that, Jimmy Butler wants out of South Florida, and you could see the writing on the wall for quite some time now. It all began last summer with Butler's comments about the Heat's ability to have beaten the eventual NBA champion Boston Celtics rather, in round number one of the NBA playoffs last year if he had been healthy. And of course, we know about Heat president Pat Riley clapping back to Butler and telling him, quote, if you're not on the court playing, you should keep your mouth shut. Okay. From there, over the remainder of 2024, and of course, here in the early stages of 2025, we've seen this relationship between star player and the guy who calls the shots in Miami deteriorate. And it appears that it has deteriorated to the point of no return. Jimmy Butler has said that he has lost his joy, okay, or his smile for the game of basketball right now, as he is simply not happy playing in Miami. The Heat suspended Jimmy Butler yesterday for 7 games for multiple instances of what they're calling conduct detrimental to the team. You look at a guy in Butler, he's in the last year of his deal with the Heat. While he does have a player option for next season at nearly $52.5 million. And I don't see Pat Riley giving Butler what he wants financially from an extension. And because of that, and because of his frustration boiling out right now, it's safe to say that the 6 time NBA All Star might have played his last game in a Miami Heat uniform. Now, Riley is old school, okay, and he does not want to give in to Butler, but it might be in the best interest for him and the organization to move on from Jimmy Buckets. And if, of course, if Pat Riley does so, he's going to do so in a situation where he feels he's doing what's best for the Miami Heat team. Now, if Butler is on the Heat roster past the trade deadline, you're probably going to lose him in free agency and get nothing back if you're the Heat. Because I really, at this point, I know he does have the player option for next season at more than $52 million, but I don't see Butler, picking it up because he's probably going to go out there and look to get a maybe 4 year extension from somebody else. Okay. It's one of those where if Butler stays on the Heat, could he be a cancer to this team if he does stay around? I mean, do the Heat really want an unhappy camper on their hands? I mean, these are, questions that people have to ask. And I mean, it's something where we've seen it with Butler before when he showed his frustrations when he wanted out of Minnesota. We've seen it with other players as well when they show their frustration when either they want out of town or they're not getting the extension that they're seeking, that they could potentially be a problem with a team. Now, some might disagree with Butler, some might agree with him, okay? But nonetheless, you think about Jimmy Butler in his time with the Heat. I mean, when he has played, okay, he has put this team on his back. I mean, you think about those 2 finals runs, first in 2020 when they lost to the Lakers, and in 2023 when they lost to the Nuggets. And I mean, you could pick out either one and say which one was more impressive. I mean, Jimmy Butler really put that team on his back in 2020. They just simply did not have the arsenal to get past LeBron, AD, and the Lakers. And the same thing could be said in 2023, where, we saw that run that year in the postseason where the Heat knocked off the Bucks, who were heavily favored in round one. They took care of the Knicks in round two, and they took care of the heavily favored Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. And it was basically, I talked about it then and I'll say it now. Basically, Jimmy punked those guys, and Jimmy took, those guys' lunch money, like a schoolyard bully, if you will. And then, sandwiched in between that was a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2022 when they lost to the Boston Celtics. And nonetheless, when Jimmy has played, Okay, he's given everything that he's had, but at the end of the day, your best ability is your availability. Why? Because you got to understand where Pat Riley is coming from. Because Butler is going to be 36 years of age when next season rolls around. And we're talking about a guy in Jimmy Buckets who has only played 82 games in a regular season once, and he has not appeared in at least 70 games in a season. You know, back like his last time was 2017. In actuality, he's only done it twice. He appeared in more than 70 games during 2017, and then of course he appeared in all 82 once. And like I said before, your best ability is your availability. Now, at the end of the day, playing for the Miami Heat and playing for Pat Riley is an acquired taste because it's not for everybody. Okay. And there's a huge gap mentality wise between the old school Riley and the bulk of the new school players. And I'm not here to bash Pat Riley. I'm not here to say, you know what, he's one of those, old men get off of my lawn type guys. No. But in Riley's mind, because like I said, he's old school. And you think back to his time when he was a head coach of the Lakers, if he cussed out Magic Johnson and cussed out Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and they took it, he feels like so can everybody else. And like in regards to things in Miami, you know, Riley allowed Dwayne Wade to leave town. Okay, and Dwayne Wade, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, is the best player in that franchise's history. So in Riley's mind, everybody else is expendable. Okay, and because of that, he's not going to give in when he feels that he's right on this. So the Heat currently find themselves at a stalemate, and of course, the question is going to be, will they ship Butler out of town? Well, we've already heard stories about the Heat, you know, putting him on the trade market. Clearly, nothing has come to fruition as far as a trade that's going to be, likable for all parties involved. But at some point, Butler's probably going to get shipped out of town. People are talking about the Warriors, people are talking about the Suns, people are talking about the Dallas Mavericks. I'll throw another team in there into that mix where I think Butler could fit in my opinion. And that's the Houston Rockets. And of course, all of the teams that I've mentioned are in the Western Conference because Pat Riley is not, and I repeat, not going to trade Jimmy Butler within the Eastern Conference and have to possibly see him in the postseason. All of those teams mentioned, maybe not the Rockets, but definitely the Mavericks, Warriors, and Suns would have to bring in at least one more team to make that trade work from a financial aspect. You name it. So I at this point, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. The trade deadline is about a month away. We've also got a scenario where, like I said, it has to be a trade that works out for all parties involved. And then on top of that, would a team be willing to give Jimmy Butler the extension that he is seeking? All of that, all of these questions have to be answered. But at the end of the day, and like I truly do believe that Jimmy Butler has played his last game in Miami because I don't see a scenario if you're the Heat where you'd want to bring him back at this point. Okay. And, it's one of those where he would clearly be a distraction because the media is going to ask the questions. You're going to have some fans that are going to support him. You're going to have some fans that are going to support the organization. Do you really want that distraction? No. But nonetheless, Jimmy Butler throughout his career has always been a guy, that's left it out there when he's played. Okay. And I think, when it's all said and done, the Heat fans will probably appreciate those two runs to the NBA finals. He spent the better part of 6 seasons with the Miami Heat, and he's been one of the better players in that franchise's history. Like I said, for Pat Riley and the Heat, they're going to do what's best for business, and what's best for business is what's best for the Miami Heat, whether that means trading Butler now, having him around, you name it. I don't know, but we're going to wait and see how this thing plays out. It's just unfortunate that this situation deteriorated to this level. But, at some point you would hope that cooler heads would prevail. That's clearly not the case. But sooner rather than later, I would imagine that we'll see some type of resolution for Butler and the Miami Heat. And I don't think that resolution is going to be him playing for the Miami Heat anytime soon. It's unfortunate that it had to end like this for all parties involved, but at the end of the day, That's the nature of the beast. So let's see what's next for Jimmy Butler, and let's see what's next for the Miami Heat in this saga. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.